Yeah, today we're going to speak again about BIM management, and today about the coordination of BIM models. We have a guest here today from BIMcollab. It's André Schnabel. I'm very happy that you're here, André. Um,
Thank
and
you.
of course, I'm here with Kent Watson, my partner here at AIPAL, and my name is Christian Dorst. Yeah, AIPAL is BIM and CAD consultancy based in Brisbane, Australia. We are an Autodesk partner, but we also have a couple of other partnerships with some industry-leading software tools and platforms. What's important for us that we all have a background as consultants, software consultants, but also as engineers, project managers. So we all worked on real projects, on multi-million-dollar projects, and we have a background in all AEC disciplines. Yeah, today the session outline, what we're going to speak about is first get a little bit of an overview about BIM coordination, what that means when we do BIM coordination, what should be done during the BIM coordination. We have a quick look at IFC and BCF format, what that means. And then I hand over to André, and he will show us some coordination workflows, how that is done on different multiple platforms. So I think that will be very, very interesting. And at the end of the session, we have some fantastic news, some a little surprise for everybody. And yeah, but let's start getting a bit of an overview of BIM coordination. The first question that I have is, what does it mean exactly, BIM coordination? And I looked it up on the internet, and I found some definitions, and I think put it a bit together here as coordination of project teams during the process of the BIM model creation, and yeah, to run a couple of checks and see how the disciplines interact with each other. So from my experience, most people who are speaking about BIM coordination, I think they speak about clash detection. So I think that is something very common, that BIM coordination is basically clash detection. I personally think that there is some more stuff that we should check during the BIM coordination. I think also clearances is something that we should keep an eye on. So for example, if yeah, but we have in the other points here as well, if something is constructible, so if I can, for example, put in a bolt or pull out a bolt of from a part, or is the building usable? So for example, can I open a door, or is it obstructed by a column, for example, or by a wall, or whatever? Usually BIM coordination is done in a coordination model, and that is usually federated by a BIM coordinator, appointed BIM coordinator, or BIM manager. Any thoughts on that one from you guys? Any checks that you think need to be done here in that stage?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good list there, Christian. Clearance checks, obviously things like cable trays that, if they're too close to the underside of the soffit, then how do you get the cables or whatever might need to be sitting inside those cable trays? So that's, clearances. Also, whether it's constructability or usability, but obviously buildings need to be maintained, and from your equipment rooms, you've got pumps that need to be pulled apart and put back together. So you need to make sure that there's the space for the pumps to be able to slide off the motors, or the motors to slide off the pumps, perhaps more accurately. So things like that. So I think, I'm not sure if they're things that often get checked, but they're certainly important to the functionality of the building.
Yeah, sure, exactly right. Yeah, I think maybe we have a bit a closer look at the clash detection, and I mean, clash detection is not just having a hard clash. Yeah, so there's some couple of other definitions, so like soft clashes and things like that. What is a little bit like a clearance check. Maybe we see that later in the live demo or when we go into some of the products and have a look at that live. But this is already a screenshot, of a tool that we can use to review a federated model. This is BIMcollab, by the way, the tool that André is coming from. And but we have a bit more detailed look at that in a few minutes. When is the BIM coordination done? So what is the right time? BIM coordination is not a one-off happening, so not a one-off event. That is something that happens many times throughout the project. So it's an ongoing process, because also the model creation, of course, is an ongoing process. We get new updates, we get maybe new disciplines, new members in the project team come in, new models get produced. We have I don't know, changes in the model. So it is something that is constantly needs review. So from my gut feeling, I would say start as soon as possible. What is your experience from that?
Yes, I definitely agree. I mean, we do BIM coordination because we use the power of the computers and the power of the possibilities that models offer, meaning that we can handle and track down possible hiccups in the design process early in the process, so that they do not appear later on, that either people in the design process handle the same things over and over again, meaning they put time into a thing that maybe later on will be discovered was wrong in the first place, or couldn't be handled during construction or during maintenance, as Ken said, the big pump that cannot be taken apart in a large industrial plant. So we need to tackle these things as soon as possible, in the time that is possible. So yes, I totally agree, start as soon. Secondary, it is also getting accustomed to it. It is fine-tuning all these little wheels that stick together. And we are in an IT environment where we either have the manual influences as being a person that does not understand every single detail of this system, or having a software that might not be capable of some other things, and then also having the influences from the time pressure, the new design again. So it is all coming together. So as quick as possible to prepare for the next step, and be aware of what might happen also. Yeah,
right. What do you say? How often should we have or should we run clash tests? Do we do a BIM coordination? Do you have coordination meetings? Is there general rule?
There is no general rule. It's so dependent on the project itself and on the multidisciplinary steps where you're in. I think that you can have a clash detection every single day if you would like. So if you have a tool that makes this possible, to pre-check your own model. I mean, I'm an architect myself. I've modeled multiple schools in the Netherlands in the BIM software, and we just sent it away a couple of years ago, so to be checked. But I never had a tool to pre-check my own IFC models. So you can have a pre-work on that. So the BIM coordinator actually can work with better models in first place. So he can focus on the multidisciplinary aspects, and can use the more complex checks.
So I think there's a couple of areas there when we're talking about how often as well, because there's the project as a whole. So how often do we collaborate or coordinate the project as a whole, from particularly say from a clash detection perspective? But then there's our individual discipline that we're responsible for as well, and we may want to run that. And I would suggest it would be a good idea to run that more frequently than the overall collaboration of the, of the whole project.
Yeah, Yeah.
And it is very important to have this in very strict time frame, so that everybody knows when to deliver the models. And it's not bad that a model is not complete or not finished yet. As I said, it is so important to fine tune these aspects and not to wait too long, because in the end you won't have time to make the last efforts and finish the model, because there are too many small mistakes maybe embedded.
I've got an extra question here that maybe on the dot point there is, and I guess it'd be related to the frequency as well, but how long should we spend on a coordination meeting? Like, should we set a time frame and go, we're just going to get through whatever we get through in that time frame so that we can get back onto the actual design work, or should we sort of try and sit and work through everything in one meeting?
Yeah, I think that would be the best step, to go through everything, but not every person or every project team member needs to know everything. So you can split up the sessions also to have a coordination meeting with all of them, and you can run those, and that's so dependent on the size of the project. Yeah, people will not focus more than 2-3 hours in a row. That's just human. Yeah, so get the focus on the critical things first. So it's really important to have a good outline on what is the most important, and go from there downwards to the less important, and make everything transparent. In my opinion, everybody can prepare on beforehand. So having the information on the spot, not only in the meetings, but also in between. So when I go back to my office and I know that not everything has been discussed, but I can go back to a system where everything is written down, is centralized, and I know I have the latest status on the issues. So I can use that discussion platform as well. So the meetings are for the most important things, and the rest can go also in between.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, that you've got the ability, having that ability anyway to deal with the small stuff in between, frees up the time for the important stuff when you're all together.
Yeah, and it is. Somebody told me this picture, and it kept in my head. It is with things in the BIM coordination workflow. The most important things and the minor things and the things that can be solved directly by one single person, you can see them as pebbles on the beach. The tiny pebbles that trickle down, they can be solved directly by a single modeler or by a MEP designer whatsoever, and they will take care of it. And if you have a system that is very transparent and shows everybody what to do, by whom, by when, then the big problems, the big boulders, they will emerge. And those things, they can be discussed in the meetings, because those are mostly the interdisciplinary questions.
Yeah, and I really like to also come back to the point that you mentioned before. Yeah, maybe it's good to do some kind of internal BIM collaboration, and this is what I see more and more often. Yeah, that you maybe have on a tool like BIMcollab, you have two workspaces, more an internal one, more an external one, or you have a completely different CDE where you share stuff internally before you really go into the coordination meeting. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, it is very important to have the mindset, and also for companies, that the internal workflow should actually be almost the same as external workflows. So yes, you do have your special disciplinary or disciplines where you would do your work as an MEP designer, as a structural engineer, as a contractor, but having communication that is the same as interdisciplinary work, going to different companies, make good agreements, be transparent, tell the people who are involved what you expect, and do the same thing yourself. Do as I say. And so it is important to have your internal workflow streamlined, meaning that you can either have internal benefits to it, exchange internal people more easily from one project to the other, but also just jump into external projects and start them more easily, become the knowledge base to other people who are not yet involved or do not have the information or the workflow before. So we benefit, the company I worked for as an architect, we benefit in 2008 strongly from one of the structural engineers who had the experience in BIM already, and he helped us a lot. So in the end, we were also early adapters back then, and then we started to spread the word, and that's how it works.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. I think.
Yeah.
I think just an interesting, when I've been using, I guess, BIM processes since 2002, and the initial thought, and teaching a lot of people through the process as well, and the initial thought is that it will require less communication because you're modeling things, but I actually think what it does is it facilitates better communication, because you're actually then talking about the things that are more important to the project rather than, if you're just in a 2D workflow, you're just really talking about what ifs sometimes, and, you're not being able to visualize it properly. So I think it actually helps you focus your communication, but and makes that communication more important and more engaging.
Correct. And you need, in these BIM coordination meetings, it is so valuable to have the model at hand with together with the issues that need to be discussed, so everybody does understand what they are talking about. What is the context we are in, and how do we understand the other disciplines?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, when is it done? As often going down into pre-checks, but also coordination meetings weekly or bi-weekally or monthly. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say, I think most of the projects I'm in contact with are doing that. I think fortnightly is something that I see most often, I would say. Yeah. Okay. But let's go on to the next slide. We have some more stuff to do here. Yeah. So I maybe put together a little bit of a very, very simple ISO 19650 workflow, and put BIM coordination a bit in context to that. So I think BIM coordination, so the work itself, or the clash test and clearance checks and all these things, happen pretty much in the on the right side of that diagram. So during the mobilization, collaboration, delivery phase, and maybe also a bit here when we speak about the asset information model at the end. Also that, of course, needs BIM coordination or some kind of verification. Maybe that's two different things. I'm not sure if we would put that under everything under BIM coordination, or if verification of that against the requirements of the appointing party is the same thing. Yeah, so basically it happens here on the right side. But what I think is important, and André, you mentioned it a bit, it is really important to get the rules right, yeah, to really set out a good foundation for the BIM coordination. Yeah, everything here on the left, all the documents, especially from the appointing party, make clear what you expect, what you expect in the model to happen, or what you expect the appointed party to deliver. And all of these documents can contribute, I think, to the BIM coordination, yeah, not only the BIM execution plan, yeah, also mobilization plans, responsibility, delivery plans. It is all part, a little bit, of my opinion, of BIM coordination. Would you agree with that?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it is so important to have all people looking into the same direction, knowing what the agreements are, and also, of course, people do not have sometimes the experience, so they can more rely on what is said in the BEP, for example, so they know what to expect when, and others who do have the experience can also take part in defining these ones, and it defines how good the coordination takes place afterwards. So that is just who can expect what from each other, and know what to be delivered by what time frame, and how the model quality should be. So that is just very important to have the good outlines here, and to be also give the flexibility in the tools that the people can use, so that a big contractor has different tools than a big architectural office or MEP designer. So having the global idea, what is the long-term goal, that's very important.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so now we have a bit of an overview what BIM coordination means. And I think as soon as you start working on BIM projects, BIM coordination, you will come in touch with two formats. The first one is IFC and the second one BCF. First one, IFC, why do we need that? So the problem is, of course, we have possibly in the project many design tools, and the bigger the project, the more likely it is that we have a couple of design tools. Of course, we have a lot of Revit out there. We have ArchiCAD, but also not to forget about Tekla, Vectorworks, maybe AutoCAD. Yeah, still number one CAD tool. And then we have the CDEs, the common data environments like BIM 360. More and more people use Dropbox, things like that, or Trimble Connect. And on top of that, we have the coordination tools coming from different vendors. So Autodesk, Navisworks, Solibri, yeah, a couple of things. And at the end of the day, the BIM coordinator needs to bring everything together in a federated model. And of course, Revit files and ArchiCAD files, they don't really like each other. So we need something in between, a translation or a common base. And that is the industry foundation classes IFC. This is nothing really new. I think it was started, the initiative was started in 1993 or 1994. So it's been around for a while. And it is a platform neutral open file format. And it is already an industry standard for exchanging data between, for example, Revit, ArchiCAD, Allplan. And it carries, of course, 3D geometry, it carries parameters, metadata, and this IFC file is usually also the file format that most of the model coordination tools like BIMcollab are using. I think what's important with IFC is I think many people struggle to use it because they maybe don't spend enough time on going through the settings and check the settings. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong with exporting an IFC file, I think. But it's definitely something I want to mention here, that if you want to use IFC and have a look at the different exporters, so that it's not just one exporter, so there are a couple around, and have a very good look at the settings to make sure that your parameters in whatever software you have get translated correctly into that IFC format. Next problem that we have is the communication. Yeah, it's also something we already mentioned a little bit. Yeah, so how do we make sure that everybody gets a notification, gets notified that there are some issues in the model, or how do I let, maybe I'm a Revit user and Andre, you are an ArchiCAD user. How can I let you know that there is an issue in your model? So we need a communication basis, or a base for the communication, and that is the BCF format. That is the BIM Collaboration Format. That is not a format that is carrying 3D geometry, but this one is the one that holds the location of an issue, for example, the creator of an issue, the status of an issue, who it is assigned to. And this BCF format can also be used in different communication or collaboration platforms. So, for example, you can communicate between the Navisworks user and a BIMcollab or Solibri user, so they can exchange their issues and keep track of it. Okay, so but I think now it's time to have a bit of a look at how that really works when different tools, different platforms come together. How do you really make sure that you get them together, and how could coordination workflow look like? And this is now a point where I hand over to André, and maybe you can just show us a little bit of. I'll stop sharing my screen here. A little bit of how to set up a clash test, how to federate a model.
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. To give a short introduction, I'll be showing BIMcollab, a cloud service, together with BIMcollab Zoom, a Revit workflow, connecting it to Dropbox and BIM 360. So having all this as a communication workflow, and we use the BCF format. To add to Chris's introduction to that format, the BCF format is a task to other softwares. It's a small file where the format tells Revit to place a Revit camera in a given location and show some elements that are stored in the BCF file. The same is applicable to ArchiCAD. We tell ArchiCAD to open an ArchiCAD camera, and we tell Solibri to open a Solibri camera and put it in a certain place, look in a certain direction, and show certain elements. And when you think about this idea, when you know where you need to be and what to look at, then in the BCF format, you can tell who should do what, when, why, and how. So it is a communication that helps different platforms to understand where do I need to be, who should be addressed. And we call that BIMcollab, and it is a web service. And together with the BCF managers, we can integrate into Navisworks, into Revit, into Tekla, into ArchiCAD. So all this interdisciplinary workflow to go deep into your authoring tool where your work actually needs to be done. So what we do is we have an internet address where we can go to, we can centralize all the discussions on a project. I'm only able to log into my projects where I'm working in, so I can put the focus on my work. First of all, it is a bundle of all the issues in a certain project, here prepared and having a different kind of overviews, and I can always filter down to the issues that are assigned to me. That is a communication framework to my team, and everybody knows who to address, who is responsible, how do we name things in this process, in this project. So there is no discussion and unclarities about this project. And I can always go back to the earlier discussions that had been entered here. So I know who created this issue, I know who made what decision, who changed things, and what the latest status of an issue is. So that is one of the things what I meant earlier in this meeting. Everybody can prepare themselves and go back to earlier meeting notes in the system to be informed and to know what to do when. In this case, this is a web address. I can create new projects, but I can of course just use this project here to get started with a coordination. So when we want to participate in BIM coordination, we need a viewer and we need the connection to the information. So in this case, I will log in from BIMcollab Zoom into the into the BIMcollab space, and I will connect to BIMcollab Cloud. In this case, there is some integration here set. First of all, a software that does not block any communication. To have everything directly from a cloud service centralized, knowing that you have the latest status. The other step is having the latest models. And in this case, we developed the project folder approach. So I can share my models, in this case, maybe with Dropbox. And using this approach, I can tell my software that all the models are shared using this file. This can be the BIM 360 app of synchronization. This can be the Trimble Connect Sync app. And in my case now, the Dropbox app. And I can share to my whole team, actually, where the information is available, because I know in the agreements that all team members also have the same app. We agreed sharing our models in Dropbox in this case, but we can also agree on sharing it on BIM 360 and using their synchronization app, and everybody has the same models on their screen. And I can choose which models are the latest and to be shared to my whole team, meaning that this navigation tab here will be filled with the information. These are the models, and my whole team now, after synchronization, can benefit from my pre-setup. So even my prefixes, my sorting mechanism, that this is my Nuon heating distributional models, these prefixes are also now shared to my team, meaning we do understand which models are what, and we know which models to handle. So I'm in need now of another models here. Let me get them. So these would be my construction models, my CST. And this is one of the things that I really love about BIM coordination, is this prefix information. That's really a very strong tool. It is helping to sort my models, but it's also helping to preset a lot of clash tests, SmartViews, visual feedback, etc. So I can either choose to look specifically into certain elements, but I can also agree on certain names here, and to call some models the role models, and models that need to be checked against them the performance models. So you can have a prefix role and a prefix performance, and it doesn't matter which models they are, you can have a preset of all the questions that you can fire on these models. So questions that are defined in the BEP, you can define SmartViews in our case, and to have a visual feedback on the model quality. So meaning that my eyes are just in 1 nanosecond, I do understand what is happening on the screen. So presets can help me to understand the model quality in front of me. And is the material name in this specific case defined? I will go to the settings. We will colorize the models and the federation of the models. So all models that are now available on my screen will be tracked down by this filter, and I can have a visual understanding and a visual check on model quality here. Is fire rating set? What kind of IFC entities do I have? Or is the classification system by whatever local classification needs, from Australian to German to US classification? Everything can be just set here in the settings of the SmartViews. You ask the system which element should be added in what kind of information should be shown on the screen. So it's a colorization system, and BIM coordination is not only checking, but it's also communication. So having this also then filtered down in the SmartViews, this is the communication I need to send to my team because there is a classification system missing. So I cannot fill my cost estimate software correctly if I do not have all the items correct in the model. So it is preparing also for other needs. And in this case, this is the communication to my team. And having the team in a cloud, knowing that I'm connected to the cloud, I can use the communication framework, in this case BIMcollab provides, that this is all about the lower level elements. and Johnson was responsible to it. We are in the engineering phase. Maybe the time frame is now due. I can have a new milestone, a new deadline to it. So end of March, I need to have this information. So Anne knows what to do. It is a specification issue. And in this case, the classification is missing. So preparing a better understanding to my team and having also, of course, with a good written word and a better comment to tell Anne directly what to do, so he will understand what I'm expecting from him. And having a good workflow regarding what should Anne see when he double clicks on this snapshot. So Revit will place not only the camera here, but will show now all the visible elements that are in my screen. Or if I made a selection, will show all the selected elements in his screen. So this is preparing, not only doing my job, but also being coordinator to, hey, what is the next step? How can I jumpstart Anne's work? So all the visible elements should be shown in Anne's screen the next time he double clicks. All this preparation is possible to be shared in the cloud. So Anne knows the next time, and I can tell him, hey, these models you sent me were incomplete, and these were the questions I had to this model. So please open up this software. The questions are shared to you. Next time, please just double click on these questions, and you know what they are because they are in the BEP. So, and if you see them, if you see your model red in here, either contact me if you don't understand, or get your model better before resending it or uploading it to our system, Dropbox, CDE, whatsoever. I was asked to show also a little bit about clash detection. I mean, that's one of these BIM coordination things, that it is a geometrical clash. There are other more advanced checks. We do geometrical clash here, and we can also share these questionnaires to my team in the cloud. I can prepare everything local on my machine here, but when there is a need, I can just drag and drop it to my cloud, share it, and every team member of my BIM coordination platform will have the same up-to-date information even on these questionnaires. So in this case here, it is a question, what do we want to check? Preset as good as you are capable of. It can be very easy to have just walls pre-checked on clashes. I want walls with columns, I want walls with slabs, and start easily. Just get accustomed to the possibilities of the system. Try to understand what the visual feedback is. Try to understand what the best workflow to your team is. And when you do that, you can dig deeper. If you are accustomed to the workflow, you can have even more definitions to either use the prefixes as well. So every model that has this prefix will be found by this system. And if you have a definition from beforehand that there are some prefixes to be used all the time, like role and performance, so you know that if I use these two words, all these rules do work. So I can have a role versus prefix performance check, and it doesn't matter which model I use as long as I give them those prefixes and my clash rules work. Of course, afterwards, I can have the more deep down definitions if I'm going more into specific workflows, that certain elements need to be defined, and I need to have certain values, that certain properties do contain the materialization of polyethylene in this case, or concrete walls that are material concrete and 60 minutes fire rating. So it is from also, again, these thoughts of these big boulders, get the first things first, and then later on in the you can just go down here and define more fine-tuning. So what I normally show our clients is, first of all, get accustomed to the system, try to understand the model yourself so you can filter down, understand the global complexity, go to visual understanding for yourself, and afterwards go to the BEP validation. So the BEP offers a strict, hopefully a strict coding also in here, so everybody knows what these questions are about. And if you understand the model better, you know what to search for, the system will help you what is wrong. And the same is having the same coding also in your clash detection questions. It's about architecture, it's about structure versus MEP, and it's about, let me get an, and this is one of these things that we offer, is the federation of the model is clear to everybody. And I can just easily go to my MEP plumbing model in this case and just load the model in this case directly from Dropbox. So no searching which model is the latest model. Inform your team, prepare the things that are needed for the team, and they can just start with their own checks. And you can also have the same clash detection here on either more global checks and the possibilities to understand them even better in the ways that we offer, but also then filtering down and to focus on the needs that you have. And the needs might differ every single time. Is this, do I want to have an understanding on models? Where do these come from? Who do I need to address in this case? Which modeler has done this? Or do I need to address my prefabrication, my precast elements? This all is, of course, then again, understanding, sorting, and communication either on manual issues or on batch generation of the issues. And I will address Betty in this case, and I will make this an issue to the team, to Betty. And going now to Revit, I will get this Revit from my other screen. Just a second, please. This is in here. Yep, coming up. So we do offer the round trip workflow. That's when I found an issue, it is available directly then in the cloud. I'm getting also the screen here. So I know directly who to address, and here. So all the issues here, and I'll go directly down. This one here is available instantly after synchronization. So Betty knows that she is addressed, and in this case, Ann Johnson knows that he's addressed, and he can handle these issues, and I can track down and I can follow and coordinate these issues. And if they are solved, then I want them to put the status to resolved so I can double check the issues. Again, in the modeling software where it is found, or using other modeling software, of course. So in this case, Betty is logging in. She either got an email, or this is her daily workflow, that she knows that in this project, she needs to handle the issues. Because this is her daily job, she will do this every single day. This is the way she communicates, or the team communicates to her, and she will use the filter to only focus on her issues, the ones that she needs to be resolving. And now comes the power of the BCF format. She has the file open in Revit. Something triggered her that this needs to be done now. Either she wants to do the job right now, or it is critical whatsoever. She double clicks on this snapshot, and this will trigger the camera task to Revit. Please go there and show the elements that are listed in this BCF format. And Revit will show, in this case, these elements. And if they have been selected, in Zoom or in Solibri or Navisworks, they will be selected as well now here in Revit, and she can make the changes as needed. She can, of course, also focus on certain elements and understand it in the model context of the models that she has also linked to this here. And if she has done the job, she needs to tell the team that it is solved, making a new screenshot, maybe also adding extra information that was forgotten here, and she will reassign it to me, and most important, tell me what she did. So I understand also what has been done and resolve this issue. So I do know in the system that this has been resolved, and I can focus on the things that need my active work, and that I do not have to go after her and ask for the solution. I know now it has been resolved by her. Everything is locked in the system. The legal trail is guaranteed. And the next time I have my meeting, I can focus on the things that that are active and need to be discussed. So I can filter away the unresolved or the still active issues, and we can have a discussion about the things. And that's all about what Kent also said. How long should these meetings, the coordination meetings, should take place? Well, if you have a good focus, you can speed up every single time you use a system that centralizes your BIM issues. And after having new models, they will be shared on Dropbox. And the next time I open BIMcollab Zoom, because we use the folder approach, the newest model will be available, and I can double check again, and I can then, if I am satisfied to the solution, so I can then close the issue. So this also focuses my work as a BIM coordinator, focus on the resolved issues to double check this and have the discussions here also, the information, what Betty in this case has done, double clicking what was it, okay, I agree, and I close this issue. Meaning I am satisfied with the solution, I do agree on the solution, I can either also have a 4i principle on this or have more sophisticated works in here. And I know that the next time these clash rules, they do work, and I can, because I have this focus every single day, I can now go to fine-tune also again the next rules or prepare the next project. So this is what I wanted to show, and maybe some things which are tips here. I think the biggest tip I can give here is use the prefixes. So we know it is data management, and we have to tell the software where to look at, which model, which name, or which component with which properties. And if you use a certain workflow for people to easily use it and say, well, just set a prefix on it and we can have a global understanding of the model quality, and you can use the same, and the BIM coordinator will have a lot help on all the modelers, because they will send better IFC files, because they can use a tool that they do understand and can easily use.
Yeah, thanks so much, André. Yeah, I already mentioned before that to the end of that session, we have some great, fantastic news. And the news is that BIMcollab and AIPAL are partnering here in Australia and New Zealand. So we are the regional partners here. And for all the BIMcollab clients who were on the call today, so I think it's good news. You have somebody in your time zone, in your backyard. And yeah, so again, if I'm not sure how that screencast worked, so if not very well, I'm really happy to jump on a call and just show all these things in a one-on-one consultation, very quick, demo, go through what's possible in a BIM coordination software, how the workflow looks. Don't hesitate to send us a mail, connect@aipal.com.au, call us, or go to our website, www.aipal.com.au, and yeah, we can schedule a chat and then quick online meeting anytime. And yeah, so that's it from our side. I'm sorry that you couldn't see me today, but maybe that's not too bad. And I hope next time everything will work a little bit better again. Thanks, André, for joining us today.
More than welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it was great to have you. And yeah, I'm sure we need some more screencasts around maybe the IFC format, how to get your IFC files right, and all these things. So I think there's a lot more topics that we could maybe cover together. Yeah, so thanks for your time, guys, and thanks for everybody who watched that broadcast. As I said, I will absolutely share some links to YouTube videos or post some videos around BIM coordination. So just to make sure that you really see what the tools can do and how the workflow works. Okay, thank you, everybody, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later.